Day 4 in the ravine was the day their own guns tried to kill them, for the men of the 77th Division, trapped deep behind enemy lines, the shells screaming overhead weren't German, they were American. Cut off, starving, and now shelled by their own army, their nearly week-long ordeal had just hit rock bottom. This is the incredible story of the Lost Battalion, a group of American soldiers who followed their orders so perfectly, they walked straight into a trap. In the fall of 1918, the Allied High Command launched the Meuse-Argonne Offensive, the largest and deadliest American operation of the First World War. The goal for over 1 million U.S. troops was simple: break the German lines in northeastern France once and for all. Among them was the 77th Liberty Division, a unit made up mostly of men from New York City shopkeepers, lawyers, and recent immigrants who spoke 42 different languages. Their commander, Major Charles Whittlesey, wasn't a career soldier. He was a quiet, bespectacled lawyer. But his orders were absolute: push forward at all costs. He was to lead his men, a force of about 700 soldiers, into the dense, treacherous Argonne forest and take a critical German position. Whittlesey looked at the maps and knew the plan was incredibly risky. "All right," he reportedly told his commander, "I'll attack, but whether you'll hear from me again, I don't know." On October 2, 1918, Whittlesey's men charged into the forest. They did exactly what they were told, pushing through German defenses and capturing their objective on a hillside ravine. But as they dug in, an unsettling quiet fell over the woods. They were utterly alone. What Whittlesey didn't know was that the French and American units on his flanks had been stopped cold by fierce German resistance. His battalion hadn't gotten lost. They had been left behind, an isolated pocket of American soldiers deep inside enemy territory. The Germans quickly realized the mistake and closed the gap, surrounding the Americans completely. The trap was sprung. Runners sent back for help were killed or captured almost immediately. The men of the now famous Lost Battalion were on their own. The next few days were a descent into hell. Huddled in crude foxholes on the cold, damp hillside, the men faced relentless German attacks. Snipers picked them off from the high ground as machine guns, and grenades rained down. Food was gone almost immediately. The only water came from a nearby stream, and you had to crawl under heavy fire just to reach it. By day 3, German shock troops attacked with flamethrowers, but the battalion refused to break. Then, on the 4th day, the nightmare got worse. American artillery, trying to help but armed with bad coordinates, began dropping shells right on top of them. Shrapnel tore through the trees and into the foxholes. Men who had survived days of German attacks were now being killed by their own side. Desperate, Whittlesey turned to his last hope: 3 carrier pigeons. He attached a note to one bird, but it was shot down. He sent another. It was also killed. Only one pigeon was left, a bird named Cher Ami, which means dear friend. Whittlesey scribbled a frantic message: "We are along the road parallel 276.4. Our own artillery is dropping a barrage directly on us. For heaven's sake, stop it." As Cher Ami took flight, German soldiers opened fire. The Americans watched in horror as their last chance was hit and spiraled toward the ground. But then a miracle. The wounded bird rose again. Shot through the breast, blinded in one eye, and with one leg hanging on by a single ligament, Cher Ami flew 25 miles in just over 25 minutes to deliver the message. The friendly fire stopped. The next day, the Germans tried a different tactic. They sent a blindfolded American prisoner forward with a note demanding surrender. Surrounded, with his numbers dwindling and his men starving, Whittlesey's response became legendary. He simply ordered his men to take down the white sheets they were using as ground markers. There would be no surrender. On October 7th, relief forces finally broke through and reached the battalion. They found an army of ghosts. Of the nearly 700 men who had entered the ravine, only 194 were able to walk out. The rest were killed, wounded, or missing. The stand of the Lost Battalion became an American legend, a symbol of courage against impossible odds. Major Whittlesey and 2 other officers received the Medal of Honor for their incredible leadership. And Cher Ami, the pigeon that saved them, became a national hero. After his death from his war wounds, his preserved body was placed in the Smithsonian, where it remains to this day. The battle was born from a tragic blunder, but it became a profound testament to the grit of the soldiers who simply refused to be broken. What do you think is the most incredible part of this story of survival? Let us know in the comments below. And for more stories of incredible last stands, be sure to watch our video on the defense of Rorke's Drift.